Okay, so let's begin. Issues concerning judiciary. Okay, so let's wait for 1 minute more. Others will join, and then we'll discuss issues concerning judiciary. Sayadri, you don't want breaks, others want breaks. What can we do? We have to find the balance. So, in case somebody feels that they are getting too many breaks, you can simply use a break time to revise the previously taught slides. And for others who want a break, we'll have regular breaks. We always try to find the middle ground, right? Okay, so let's begin now. First up is the issue of pendency of cases. So, when it comes to pendency of cases, delay in the passage of cases, that is what is pendency of cases. So, what's the current situation in our country? Of course, how many cases are pending? So, the pending cases has come to roughly 5 crores now. Just to give you a slightly better clarity on the pending cases, in the Supreme Court, the pending cases are roughly around 70,000, 69,511, the last figure updated, but this keeps on changing, 70,000. In the high courts, it's around 60 lakh cases pending. In fact, more than 60 lakh, 60.52 lakh cases pending. In the subordinate courts, 4.26 crore cases pending. Right? In total, over 4.93 crore cases are pending. And that's a very serious cause of concern with respect to the pending cases. It is touching almost 5 crores, right? Almost 5 crore. And not just this, if you look at some specific figures, how many cases are pending for more than 3 years? This number For subordinate courts, meaning cases pending for more than 3 years, is roughly 47%. And for high courts, when it comes to high courts, roughly 64, two-third of the cases pending in high courts are pending for at least 3 years. And not just this, in our country, there are 1.82 lakh cases pending for 30 years. Pending for over 30 years. Over 30 years. The exact figure is 1,82,503, of which 72,671 cases are pending in high courts for 30 years. What kind of justice is this? Right? Way back in 2018, Niti Aayog submitted a paper after doing some research on the pending cases. Now, in 2018, just to give you an idea, so this was Niti Aayog estimates. It said in 2018, when the number of pending cases were 2.9 crores only. Pending cases, 2.9 crore. Niti Aayog said, if no new cases are filed now and we have to solve all the pending backlogs, it will take, clearing the backlog, it will take 324 years to clear the backlog. That was when 2.9 crore cases were pending. Now it's 5 crore cases. It will take somewhere close to 500 plus years to clear the backlog. So, seventh, eighth generation finally will get justice. This is the situation. And that is why this photograph is very apt for those who do not know. This is a movie called Damini in the early 1990s, where Sunny Deol, this actor, gets very angry and finally says in the court only keeps on giving dates after dates, tariq pe tariq. All you get is dates. Next date, adjournment, adjournment, adjournment. No judgment. This is a sad situation. Now, what is the problem if we have pendency of cases, and what's the big deal about it is also a question. Mind you, the court's philosophy, yato dharmastaho jaya, where there is dharma, there is victory, or as our Britishers would say dharma. So where there is dharma, there will be victory, is the court's motto. So where there is dharma, but in a timely manner, only then can there be victory. So that's there. Anyway, and still, if you feel, a lot of times we have seen Supreme Court judges becoming very aggressive on this point. They say, in our country, people file too many cases. You're wrong. My lords, you're completely wrong. If you compare the case filing rate in India to say a developed country like USA, where people are more aware of their rights, you'll be surprised. In India, for every 1,000 people, 17 cases are filed. But in USA, for every 1,000 people, 330 cases are filed. So our pendency is only going to increase when people become more aware of their rights. Anyway, what's the harm? What is the big problem when it comes to pendency of cases? So one big problem that you may feel when it comes to pendency of cases is a very age-old statement you've been hearing right from childhood, right? Justice delayed is justice denied. That's the typical statement. Secondly, when it comes to pending cases and if judgments are delayed, it also amounts to wasting resources of the judiciary, resources of the litigants, resources in the form of time, resources in the form of money. Okay. Sushri, Niti Aayog 2018 means Niti Aayog said in 2018. If I write the entire statement, it will take years and years to complete the syllabus. So, as I said, you have to also follow what I say. So, Niti Aayog in 2018 said that, and that was just a fact and figure. You can simply ignore a factor figure if you feel it's too complicated. So, Niti Aayog in 2018 said that there are 2.9 crore pending cases. We would need 324 years to solve these cases. That's the meaning of that particular point. Okay. Now, coming back here, one more thing is the increasing tendency to employ extra legal means. What is the meaning of this? Think of this situation that you get loans from a government bank, SBI, etc. When you get loans from government banks and the person comes to collect money, they have no interest. They come, you give the loan, you don't repay, court case is filed, the case is there for years and years. Now, what happens in case of a private financer? They give you loan, you don't repay the EMI, then what happens? They'll go to court and all. No, they know very well if I go to court for collecting 50,000 rupees, the money is stuck. So what they will do is they'll simply send some bodybuilders, protein powder fed people, and they'll say, collect the EMI. And those people will come, give a nice thrashing, and then we have to give the EMI. We'll give EMI for 10, 15 times also. What is this? People are slowly employing extra legal means to solve problems because they feel what's the point in going to the court? There's only delay, right? So that's the problem. And this is what is happening. Also, if there's too much of delay, it also erodes the image, the credibility of judiciary. To give you a simple example, we were discussing the death sentence, capital punishment, and I had mentioned this point. Sometimes people rejoice capital punishment because I give the example of Hyderabad gang rape case in 2019, December 2019, where all these, because the court did not find them guilty, I'm calling them accused. All the people who had been caught, the police encountered them, right? Because they're trying to escape. Apparently, they're trying to escape. Who knows what is the meaning of escape in the eyes of police? So they're trying to escape, and when the police came out on the road after killing these people, the people on the road, the bystanders, were clapping and rejoicing, throwing garlands on the police. Why? Because they knew very well the meandering pace of justice in our judiciary. It will take years and years for justice to come. And that's how the reality is. In fact, think of this. If your case is going on in the court, you are in the jail as an under trial. There is also a very unique problem that happens. Overcrowding of jails. So, overcrowding of jails. Why? Because if your date has not come yet, you are an under trial. High under trial population. That's there. Just to give you a rough estimate, in 2021, you'll be surprised. Out of roughly 5,54,000 people in jail, 77% people were under trials. Who is an under trial? Under trial is somebody who is not guilty. He is not a convict. The case is going on and they are under judicial custody, meaning they are in the jail, waiting for their date to be announced, and they can come and sit in the case. That's the population. India has the sixth highest number of under trials across the globe. Recently, Supreme Court said, we have to improve the condition of prisons. My lords, if your lower courts give bail properly, then we will not have such a situation only. The jails are overcrowded because of under trials, because of the great performance of our lower court judges who don't give bail. They'll try to find out every step possible, every loophole possible to deny bail. Bail should be given as a matter of right to individuals, but still bails are refused, and we have an overcrowding of jails. So that's there. Now comes a important element. How do we solve this problem? But before that, what are the reasons for pendency of cases? What are those reasons based on which pendency is increasing, or we have so many pending cases in the courts across the country? Right reasons. Come on, tell me. Let's see what you can think of. Reasons for pendency. Vacancy, less number of judges. Less judges, less judges, less judges, late appointments, staff less, poor performance, no checks on judiciary, too much holidays by judges, overburdened, postpone, proper evidence, inadequate infrastructure, British type of holidays, judge population ratio, vacant position, lack of evidence, more vacation, no time period of appointment by government, lack of ICT access, less judges, accurate justice, slackness of police officials, timely exams not conducted, less courts. Okay, let's look at some of unjust advocates, workload, corruption, many cases. Now, many cases pending. What is the reason for many cases pending? What are the reasons for pending cases? Uh, the very simple reason, or the reason that can be the most common one, is the judge to population ratio is very poor. Judge to population ratio is very poor, meaning in our country, per 1 million people, that is 10 lakh people, we just have around 18 to 19 judges. 18.54 per let me write here. Ratio is very poor. 18.54 judges per million people, meaning for every 10 lakh people, we have 18.54 judges. Considering the population of country as 141.6 crores and the judges in our country, so total judges in the country are 2529 judges in the subordinate courts, 1114 judges in the high courts, and we have the Supreme Court 34 judges, which adds to 26277. This is the total judge population in the country. That's also a problem. The total sanctioned strength is low. We have in total, as I said, how many? 26277 judges in the country. That's it. China has roughly 2 lakh judges. 2 lakh judges. India has 26,000 judges. How will we compete? Number 3, we have low judge population, a low judge strength, too much of population, and then your vacancy also. That's the beauty of it. Vacancy. Thankfully, at this point of time in Supreme Court, there is no vacancy. It's one of those rare great moments when there is no vacancy in Supreme Court. But in high courts, the current vacancy, at least in the last 1st of March, was 333 people for 1114 total number of judges. 333 seats are vacant, right? This 333 seats are vacant. This amounts to slightly less than 30%. 29.9% roughly. This is the situation currently. Same goes for subordinate courts also. In the subordinate courts, as recently, the number of number of vacancies were 5,700. Roughly 5,750 judges seats were vacant out of the total number of judges, which stands at 2,500, 129. This would also be somewhere close to 23%, around 22.8%, roughly in that zone. This is a vacancy. 30% vacancy, 23% vacancy. That's there. Then what else? See, one more issue that we have seen in the recent times is the case disposal rate has been slightly on the lower side because of too much of holidays in the Supreme Court, in the high courts. That's also a reason actually. We have too many holidays in the Supreme Court and high courts. And otherwise also, the case filing rate is more than case disposal rate. Every year, or every month rather, more cases are being filed than they are being disposed. So you can never compete. For example, in the case of subordinate courts, I believe 13.3 lakh cases were filed 2 months back. Disposed, and 20 lakh cases were filed. So if you're filing 20 lakh cases and the subordinate courts are able to clear only 13 lakh cases, every month you're only adding 5, 6, 7 lakh cases to the pending cases. Imagine your school days. College days. If your backlogs are more than the papers you clear, you'll never ever be able to clear the backlogs. That is what is happening. Case filing rate is less than case disposal rate. Okay. Then, as I said, we have too many holidays in Supreme Court. Too many holidays. Supreme Court goes on summer vacation, 45 days. 45 days of summer vacation like a school kid. 15 days of winter vacation. 1 week of holy holiday. 5 days of Diwali. Oh, sorry. Small error. Case filing rate is more than a case disposal rate. Okay. Then 5 days of Dashara leave. I mean, like a small school kid, you'll have so many holidays. How is it justified? I mean, in the British times, it was okay to have 45 days of summer vacation where you go back home to your parent country, etc. But now your office is AC, your car is AC, your house is AC. Where are you facing the heat and all? So that's there. That's also a problem, especially for people who know in your offices now you hardly get leaves, but the Supreme Court, full enjoyment. lesser sittings in the Supreme Court. So, for example, Supreme Court on an average sits for anywhere close to 175 to 180 days. That's it. Like in 2022, Supreme Court sat for 174 days. 174 working days. That's there. Okay. Then some other problems. Other problems like, this culture of adjourning the judgments, giving next date, culture of adjournment. We also have to blame the police for this. Poor quality of investigation and prosecution. Poor quality of investigation and prosecution because of untrained staff. So, police personnel untrained, that's a problem. Then uh, on a lot of occasions, our laws in our country are very old, obsolete laws, very old laws, right? And because of old laws, there are a lot of procedural complexities. Obsolete laws. Look at our IPC. Our IPC is of 1860. We are yet to revamp it. CPC, the Code of Civil Procedure, is of 1908. So that's also a problem. Then some people also say, that the representation of women is very poor when it comes to these situations. So that's one uh, problem. Now, these old laws. I'll give an interesting example. There is this law called Indian Evidence Act. This law is of 1872. Obsolete means old, very old, archaic. That's the word obsolete laws. Uh, Indian Evidence Act. One simple problem. There's a section 45 which says that opinion of experts can be taken in the context of foreign law, science, arts, handwriting, finger impression. We can take the opinion of expert. Who is an expert? The law does not define who's an expert. It simply says anybody who is skilled. Such an ambiguous definition of expert. And then you take opinion of random people. Those opinions are not accepted by the courts. Or a very simple point I'll tell you. So recently what happened was that this Central Economic Intelligence Bureau, Central Economic Intelligence Bureau, it had been facing a problem. What happens is, on lot of occasions, when they raid, say the ED raids some place, they collect some documents, original copy. Now the original copy is placed with ED, given to court. At the same point of time, if let's say CBI raids the same person and files their separate case, they take on the certified copy because original is somewhere else. These certified copies are only secondary evidence in the court. Makes no sense. So these kind of minute issues are there in the Indian Evidence Act which delay the procedure. Simple example. When you give any kind of evidence in the court, you must have seen in movies what happens. The hero suddenly presents a new kind of evidence in the court. Everybody is shocked, right? New evidence. Court is surprised. In reality, this is not how it works. You can't surprise the court. You have to inform about the evidence beforehand only, right? Now, a copy of evidence is given. Let's say some document is there. You give the copy to court, give the copy to the other defendant also. Now, the next time defendant comes, he'll simply say, sir, the copy I got, lines are not clearly visible. I want a fresh copy. Next date. What kind of loophole is this? And that is why rich and elite people hire the best lawyers who know the loopholes, and they keep on getting dates after dates. There is no guarantee of punishment. So this is a problem. So laws are very old, obsolete, and this causes a concern. Then one more very interesting point. Now, I'm not saying this point needs to be solved, but this is also a reason. Increasing levels of literacy or awareness. Now, more and more people are becoming aware of their rights, which is actually increasing the number of cases being filed in the courts. Because now I know my rights. If they're being violated, I'll go to court. So it is only exploding the already existing docket of the court, more cases being filed. Then, of course, we know very well that the people in our country, they will file useless, frivolous litigations. Frivolous litigations being filed. That's again a big problem. Useless kind of cases being filed, cases having no merit being filed, that's again a concern. And of course, one very big problem that we are facing, which one former Chief Justice, Justice N.V. Ramana, had also pointed out, was the very poor quality of infrastructure. Inadequate infrastructure. So, see, this poor infrastructure is not at higher levels and all. Supreme Court and High Courts are very good. At lower levels. So, if you ever get a chance to go to the lower court, you will find out that the infrastructure there is very, very poor, especially in tier 2, tier 3 towns, the lower courts and all. Maybe district courts are pretty decent in terms of the fact that maybe in the city a sessions court may be very nice, but otherwise very dingy, small room, right? Just one table chair, other table chairs are broken, one light on the head of the judge only, one fan facing judge only. That's it. This is a classic situation, right? So just to point out, you'll be surprised. In 46% of the cases in our courts across the country, lower courts, there is no availability of purified drinking water. 46% courts. No purified drinking water. This is basic necessity. Even more shocking, in 26% courts, no ladies' washroom. In 16% courts, no men's toilet. Then, in almost half the courts, there is no library also for judges to refer to cases. No library. What else? Record room. Something as basic as a record keeping room where records can be kept safely. In lot of situations, records are kept beside the judge only. Any random person can walk in, judge is writing something, judge, look there, take a record, run away from there. Records missing, case gets delayed, record is not there. This is happening. 68% cases, you will find there is no record room to keep the records of the court. 63% cases, there is no computer on judge's desk. In these situations, can you expect a judge to function fully and comprehensively? Right? The judge doesn't want to sit there. He wants to run back home immediately. Inadequate facilities will always result in poor performance. Imagine you go to an office, there is no drinking water. Will you really want to go to the office? No washroom. You can't drink water too much. You need a washroom. So you'll feel I have to go home. This work, this posting is headache for me. You won't perform to your optimum capability. So this is actually a very poor situation in our lower courts. And because of that, N.V. Ramanna himself said, the former Chief Justice, that because of failure of timely delivery of justice, we are facing roughly a loss of 9% to the annual GDP. 9%. So that's a very sad situation. Now, see, to improve the infrastructure, the center has allocated 9,000 crore rupees. Out of it, center has said, we will give you 5,300 crores. States, you give rest. States will not spend a single penny on this. States will spend every penny on subsidies, every penny on distributing freebies to people, but they will not spend money on improving the infrastructure of judiciary. Recently, we have also launched the Nyay Vikas. This is an online system of geo-tagging. So when a new court hall is built, toilets are built, they are geo-tagged to ensure that there is a existing infrastructure, because you know very well, a lot of things are done on paper, nothing in reality. So now we are geo-tagging things. When you build a court hall, when you build a toilet, you install some kind of water purifier, geo-tag it that the work is complete. That's it. So these are the plethora of reasons which relate to the high pendency in the country. Now the point is, how do we solve it? Please tell me, what steps can be taken to correct these pendencies or bring them down? Right? Corrective measures. Reduce holidays. Okay, what else? Filling up the vacancies. Sure. Fill vacancies. Improve infrastructure, increasing settings, training police staff, capacity building for police, infra development, vacancies, filing, categorize cases, train police, good infrastructure, improve infrastructure, mandatory settings, increase number of judges, fast track courts, training is required. More number of judges, state should improve, spend on infrastructure, over time of judges, put NJSC under 9th schedule. 1,000 judges per million. Channabasu, that's too much of. It may not happen overnight. Police capacity building, control the control the population. How can we control the population? It is already too large. We can't kill people now. Funds, give bails, more working days, prioritize cases. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Let's collect all these points and write. So, of course, increase the total sanctioned strength. We have to increase number of judges. Number two, increase the, which will in fact increase the judge to population ratio. So World Bank says that we should have at least 50 per million, 50 judges per million population. See, Western countries have 75, 80, 120, 115, 50 at least. Number three, filling up vacancies. That's there. Virtual hearings should increase. Virtual hearings, online hearings. Then improve, of course, you will say improve infrastructure. Then capacity building of the police personnel. Then replace old laws, replace old or obsolete laws with new laws. In fact, we have had this situation where we have constantly, I mean, even the Law Commission in the 69th report, in the 185th report, they have constantly been saying, please revamp old laws. What the hell is this? 1860 IPC. Can you not make a new IPC? Right? So these things are happening constantly. Then we can also set up fast track courts to clear pending cases. What is a fast track court? Fast track court. It's not some special kind of court. It's the exact same court, but fast track court will only take up a specific kind of case. For example, you can right now go to a lower court and file any kind of case. But if the court is a fast track court, then you can only file certain types of cases. For example, cases pending for over 30 years. So what I'll do is I'll create a separate court. In the local court only, one room is there, one judge is sitting there. The task of that judge is to only take up cases which are pending for more than 30 years. So in that particular courtroom, only those cases will go which are meant or which are older than 30 years, because we have to initially take special efforts in clearing backlog of cases. That's the number one criteria. We have fast track courts roughly around 500. 489 is the exact figure. So we currently have around 489 courts across 19 states and UT, which is there. But we have to increase this number because what has happened is funding is not coming. Finance Commission, after the 12th Finance Commission, has stopped giving recommendation for funding for fast track courts. That's also there. Then one more very important point. It may not help in pendency, but we should also not deny bails unnecessarily. Should not be denied unnecessarily. So that will actually lower the prison population, right? Then see, one issue that you may have pointed out, a lot of you have written also, that we should increase the sitting. Now see, that may not really be possible because judges in their free time are not partying and all. They have to go back home and prepare the case. They have to write their judgments, read the cases. See, a lawyer will give 10, 20 references. In US Supreme Court 1892, in Supreme Court of India 1971, in that law, in this judgment. You can't trust the lawyer. You have to read the references. It takes time. So judges are not going to Goa and Maldives and Canada and Switzerland to party. They are studying only. But the whole point is, because all judges go on vacation at once, a lot of cases pile up in the month of June, July. So what we can do is we can spread the leaves throughout the year. Before the beginning of every year, ask all the judges, you want a 1 month of leave? When do you want it? Some judges go on leave in January, some judges February, some March. In this fashion, the court functions throughout the year, and there will not be any piling up of cases suddenly, right? So spread the leaves or vacation throughout the year. Then there is also a concept of Nyay Mitra, right? So we have to increase the engagement of Nyay Mitra. Who is a Nyay Mitra? Nyay Mitra is basically somebody who is appointed by the government only. Every year, 20 Nyay Mitra are appointed for a district, and their task is to find out all the cases in their district which are older than 10 years and expedite those cases. So, from 20 to at least 100 per year. So Nyay Mitra is that person whose task is to expedite all those cases, talk to concerned authorities, talk to lawyers, and get those cases addressed in the court. He is not a judge. He is just somebody who helps all the parties in coming together and getting those cases disposed of quickly. That's the Nyay Mitra. Okay, that's there. Then one more important element is to popularize some alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. Popularize alternate dispute resolution mechanisms. We call this ADR. For example, we'll discuss shortly Lok Adalats or Gram Nyayalay. We'll discuss that also. Etc. Then we also need to focus a lot on pushing for plea bargaining. So there's a concept called plea bargaining. When you are in the court, what happens is that at a certain point of time, when the case begins, the judge asks the accused. So the accused is asked, how do you plead? Meaning, are you accepting your guilt? Do you plead guilty? And then the accused says, no, I don't plead guilty, I'm innocent. And then the case proceeds. Then the public prosecutor will try to prove your guilt. But if you accept your mistake and say, yes, sir, I plead guilty, I did hit the person, I did commit a crime, I did steal, etc. At that point of time only, you have saved the court lot of time and resources. So court may give you lenient punishment. That's called plea bargaining. But plea bargaining can only be used in cases where the punishment is less than 7 years. So not for a heinous crime. You can't kill somebody and say, sir, sorry, please give me less punishment. That won't happen. So plea bargaining has to be used only in situations where the punishment is less than 7 years. So we should also try to incorporate plea bargaining. Things like plea bargaining. So these steps, if taken, can improve upon the issue of pendency of cases. Now, let us take all these steps one by one. Coming to the very first ADR, that is Lok Adalat. So, how does Lok Adalat work, and how does it improve upon pendency of cases? Now, as far as the Lok Adalats are concerned, this is a classic example of an alternate way to resolve disputes. See, when you go to courts, cases are filed. It takes time, both parties fighting, etc., trying to prove that other person is wrong. Why don't we try to find a mechanism wherein both the parties arrive at some kind of amicable resolution, right? A common ground. That is the concept of Lok Adalat. I'll explain this through a very classic example of bank loans. So think of this. Let's say you have taken a bank loan. Example. This loan says of 75,000 rupees. Now, because of the interest, this loan has become 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now, the pending amount is 1 lakh rupees. Let's say you don't pay the EMI for the first installment. EMI does not come. Your loan is now, the bank categorizes your loan into something called special mention account, SMA1. The bank is now suspicious. Some problem is there. You missed the second installment, the bank places your loan under SMA2. After 3 installments are missed, your loan becomes NPA. After some time, your loan becomes a substandard asset, doubtful, and then lost. The bank says this fellow will not give money, and bank removes that loan from their account books. But this does not mean the bank has no right to collect the money. The bank has every right to collect that money. Now the bank knows you have no intention of giving the money. So the bank says, let's do one thing. Let's have a simple plan in place. The bank sends you a letter. The bank says that, see, there is some pending loan against you. I am giving you a discount of say 20%. So bank will not call it discount. Bank will call it loan waiver. Waive off 20%. Haircut of 20%. You don't give me 1 lakh rupees. You only give me 80,000 rupees. Can you give this that much? Are you okay? If you are okay, you take the letter. The bank will tell you, if you are okay, please come on Saturday in that local court there, and we'll settle the dispute. Why to go to court and all? If you are happy and okay, you can go there and get the dispute settled. For example, look at this figure. So this is actually a photograph of a Lok Adalat. So this lady here, they seem to be the ones who had some pending loan. This is the Lok Adalat panel, which involves one judge. It's mandatory to have a chairman as a judge. Some retired district judges there. Then you have two other people who are experts. These two are some social activists who are also there in the panel of Lok Adalat. Then there'll be somebody who's announcing the names. This is bank's lawyer. Look at his face only. He looks like a bank's lawyer only. No hope in life, no happiness at all. Anyway, so that's there. The bank's lawyer is there, the party is there, both of them sign, and the case is solved. If the party says, okay, I will give the money within some time frame, both people win. The bank also gets some money, the people also get some discount. Case is resolved. No need to go to court. This is called Lok Adalat. And the beauty of this concept is that here there is flexibility. Yes or no? Flexibility. Number one. Affordability. It's very cheap. You don't have to hire any lawyer. No need to hire a lawyer. Just go there, sign, case resolved. Speed, it's quick, it's fast, right? Uh, it's amicable, peaceful. Amicable means peaceful. And finally, it also has a sense of finality. Okay, so all these elements are there. It's final because the award is there, end of story. It's amicable because it's peaceful. Because see, in the court, you are fighting A versus B. Here, it's peaceful. Speed, it's quick. Go there, one date, case solved. Affordable, no need to hire a lawyer, it's very cheap. Flexible, see, you may, bank may give a discount of 20%, may give 30%. Bank may say 30%, you may offer 20%. Flexibility is there. You can go on next Saturday also. Dates are fixed between you and the bank. So it's a compromise, basically. So the procedures are very flexible. There is no need to follow the Indian Evidence Act procedures, rules, nothing is followed. Simply come on that day, stand there, and that's it. End of story. If you go to a court, lot of procedures have to be followed. Your name has to be entered, court fees has to be paid, right? You are free from all this flexible, all this rule regulation, completely flexible. No court fees, no need to get your name registered somewhere. Then somebody will stand up and call, and then you come date, next date, this date, nothing. Presenting evidence, no need. Calling witness, no requirement. So that's there. This is the Lok Adalat. That is why we say it delivers informal, cheap, and expeditious, fast, quick justice. And in our country, the very first time we had a Lok Adalat, that was in 1982 in Gujarat. So, first Lok Adalat, Gujarat, 1982, Junagadh, 14th of March. And this concept of permanent Lok Adalat was finally established under the Legal Service Authorities Act, the same law which provides for NALSA, right? And Lok Adalats can be formed for various things. For public utility service, meaning what? For example, as I gave the example of bank loans, for water bill, if you have a very high water bill, wrong bill is there, go to Lok Adalat. Or some issue that you have with respect to electricity bill, or some issue with respect to your accident compensation. So a lot of these things can be dealt with in the Lok Adalats. Okay. Now, the permanent Lok Adalat shall consist of a chairman who has to be a former or current district judge or additional district judge, or a judge having held any judicial office higher than district judge. Okay. Then it also has two members who have adequate experience in public utility service. Two experts. So I had pointed this out. This lady here seems to be an expert, and this person here seems to be an expert. This person is the judge. So that's there. Okay. Then Lok Adalats are available for civil cases, of course. They are available for civil cases. They are also available for criminal cases. But for what kind of criminal cases? For only compoundable criminal cases. What is the meaning of this? Compoundable refers to petty cases, small, petty offenses, where out of court settlement is allowed. To give you an example, let us say you snatch somebody's chain. Maybe the police can come and slap you, give the chain, matter is over. Or in your college days, you used to fight. Two groups are fighting to impress some random person, and you are fighting leader of your group, like this movie, the Tamil movie. I forgot the name. The Hindi remake, Rehna Hai Dil Mein, right? Sid and the other person, Maddie, are fighting. Suddenly, police comes. Now, the policeman will not register a case and all. They'll come, they'll call both the leaders, slap both of them, and say, come on, shake hands. Case closed. Those are called compoundable criminal offenses, petty offenses. Otherwise, Lok Adalat is meant for civil cases only. In fact, we also have Lok Adalats for settling family disputes. So, for family disputes also, these are basically called Parivarik Mahila Lok Adalat. They are meant to settle family dispute. So, bank loans, water bills, all such things. Okay. Now, the Lok Adalat can be used at any point of time. Let's say the bank has gone to court and filed a case. But bank knows very well, I am the banker, I know that in the court the case date will never come. So I go to the Lok Adalat also. At the same point of time, I go to Lok Adalat also and file a case there also. Meaning, I go for compromise. If the compromise is done, I take back my case from court. Otherwise, court case is there only. Or even before filing a court case, I'll firstly try for a compromise. If you don't agree, I'll go to court. So you can go to court at any point of time. It is not that once you go to Lok Adalat, you can't go to court. Court's doors are always open. We are just giving an alternative for everyone to save time and money, so that you better go to some Lok Adalat to get the case resolved rather than spending time and money in the court. That's the difference. Okay. So it is available pre and also post litigative stage, meaning courts. You can go to Lok Adalat before filing court case. You can go to Lok Adalat after filing court case. Court case has no relation to Lok Adalat. You are just trying for an alternative. Okay. Now, one very important thing. See, this award of Lok Adalat, like in this case, the bank said, I am giving 20% discount. Do you agree? You come on that day. You come there and you sign. You agree. Compromise has been agreed upon. If you have agreed on the compromise, the judge signs. Done. That award is final. You can't challenge it in any court. Now, some people will say, sir, how can you not challenge it? In Supreme Court also? Of course, in Supreme Court also. Because this award is basically a compromise. It can't be challenged. You either accept it or reject it. Why are you bothered? If you don't want this 20% discount, don't accept it. You can't say, why only 20%? I'll give you a simple example. Let's say somebody comes to you after you clear the examination. Somebody comes to you and proposes to you that I love you, amazing person, great answers, etc. This will happen. Don't worry. Once you clear the examination, these things will happen. Somebody comes to you. When they propose to you, you either accept their proposal that yes, I also love you, or you say, sorry, I don't love you. You can't ask, why have you come? Why your friend has not come? That's not under their control, right? What your response has to be is either accept or reject. So that's the whole point. Here also, you can either accept the award or reject the award. You can't question the award. That is why it cannot be challenged. either accept or reject. Now I hope the point is clear. Now, one more thing. To what amount can you go and file a case in the Lok Adalat? Up to 1 crore. This is as per the NALSA website. In your Lakshmikant or some other books, you will find this number to be 10 lakh rupees. It is actually incorrect because NALSA website says it's 1 crore rupees. That's what is the correct figure. Books may have it wrong. What can we do? So this is all about Lok Adalats. And let me remind you, this Lok Adalat solves lakhs and lakhs of cases. I mean, just to give you a simple example, from 2016 to 2020, all the national level Lok Adalats in our country, just a 5-year figure, not since they were formed, just 5 years. 2016 to 2020, they disposed of how many cases? 2.93 crore cases. Can you imagine that had the Lok Adalats not been there, these cases in the system, so now we would have been reading the number of pending cases in the district courts is 7 crores 20 lakhs. That would have been the amount. So just to give a simple example, just last year on the 26th of May 2022, one national level Lok Adalat was set up. It solved or disposed of on that day 96 lakh cases. Almost 1 crore cases were disposed of on that particular day. Imagine there was no Lok Adalat. All these cases end up in the courts. So that is the situation we are referring to. So this has been of great help in providing justice to people, and quick, easy, final, flexible justice to people. This is all as far as Lok Adalats are concerned. So all a question came in 2010. Oh, poll. Okay. 51% have marked the correct answer. Other people, what happened? With reference to Lok Adalats, which of the following statements is correct? Lok Adalats have the jurisdiction to settle matters at pre-litigative stage and not those matters pending. As I had just said in the example, even if a court case is pending, no problem. You can always go to Lok Adalat. Lok Adalats are independent of court case. It is available both pre and post litigative stage. One is wrong. Number two, Lok Adalats can deal with matters which are civil and not criminal. They can deal with a criminal case. I had explained through example, compoundable criminal cases. This is wrong. Every Lok Adalat consists either of serving retired judicial officers only. No, they have two social activists also as members. This is also wrong. Hence, none of these statements given above is correct. D is the right answer. Okay. So under ADR, one thing we saw was Lok Adalats. The other is, of course, the Gram Nyayalay. So we have in our country something called Gram Nyayalay, the village courts. Now, Rani, 1 crore cases in one day across the country. There were various Lok Adalats running on the same day. So not just one place, various places across the country at the same time, on the same day. High Court or Supreme Court case can be solved? Not really. If you go to High Court and Supreme Court, I don't see it as a petty issue. Petty issues don't go to High Court and Supreme Court. So ideally, no. So within 30 minutes, we'll finish the session only. What's the point of a break right now? Ajit, AI-based judicial system, Chat GPT. So Chat GPT, with respect to AI, not really. Lot of other elements are involved in pronouncing verdicts and judgments. So we'll have to mimic human emotions to a very large extent for AI to actually be able to give judgments. Maybe in future, maybe 100 years later, 20 years later, we incorporate so many elements to it. We feed with so much of data that it provides us with that level of judgments which match human elements to it. So maybe in future, why not? Sushri, it is just petty cases. Why are you using the word district court or high court cases? There is no case called a Supreme Court case or high court case. Case is a case. Dispute. So we are referring to basically petty kind of disputes, basic small issues. If you have murdered somebody, you can't go to Lok Adalat, of course, right? So petty cases. Don't refer to a district court case or a high court case. No, there's nothing called a high court case. It's a case, right? The laws and rules define where can you file the case, but it's eventually a case only. Okay, why is Rajnikant on the screen? Those who know. Those who have seen this movie would know why Rajnikant is there on the screen. Sushri, that court can mean any kind of court. There is nothing specific mentioned, right? If you want to me to point out something which is not mentioned in the law, it will be me trying to create a point here. Just take it as a court only, right? If you are really into it, look the subordinate courts. Be happy. Subordinate courts. Yaram Sethi, in this situation, if a person committed crime and he is passed away, the court will give a genuine verdict, but now the punishment can't be executed. But verdict is based on your performance of act only. There is no element of mercy there. So you will be given the verdict based on the crime you committed. Lakshmi, in a murder case, compromise is not possible. Please understand. A murder case is not a crime against an individual. It's a crime against society. That's why it's called a criminal case, right? So murder case also reflects the failure of the state to provide security to its citizens. That's why you can't compromise in a murder case. So there are some cases which are called non-compoundable, right? So murder is a non-compoundable case. Assault, battery is a non-compoundable case. Attempt to murder is a non-compoundable case. So in those cases, there is no compromise. Abetting somebody to commit suicide is a non-compoundable case. Terrorism is a non-compoundable case. So a lot of cases are mentioned as non-compoundable. We'll have to refer to IPC's list of all these cases, which is of no concern to us, right? Okay. Now coming to Gram Nyalay Act 2008. So, first things first, what is the purpose of having Gram Nyayalay? See, this Gram Nyayalay came into force in 2009 on the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, 2nd of October. What's the purpose? Very simple. The purpose is to provide access to justice to citizens at their doorstep. Meaning, if you cannot go to courts, courts will come to you. Don't think that the judge will come to your house, knock the doors, come on, open the door. You want justice? Take justice. Of course not. I'll explain what this means basically. This means courts come to your area as local as intermediate panchayat area. So at the taluk or block level, the court will come. If you cannot go to court, the court comes to you. That kind of sense. So the purpose is to provide access to justice to citizens at their doorsteps and to ensure that justice is not denied due to social, economic, or any other disability. Okay. So this is the purpose. As I said, the Gram Nyayalay Act in force on the 2nd of October 2009, because anything we do related to Gram, we always try to do it on 2nd of October, Gandhiji's birthday. Now, one more thing. As of now, not every state has Gram Nyayalay. It is operational in around 10 states, though we had roughly 15 states where we wanted Gram Nyayalay, but only in 10 states. So some important points. GN stands for Gram Nyayalay. No Gram Nyayalay in northeastern states so far. Then currently there have been a slight increase also. Number of Gram Nyayalays which have been notified, it has now increased to 703. But not all are operational. Operational Gram Nyayalays roughly amount to 370 right now. From 264, it has increased to 370. Of course, the maximum number of Gram Nyayalayas operational are in Madhya Pradesh, then UP, then Rajasthan. MP, UP, top 3 states. And also let me remind you, to set up a Gram Nyayalay, center gives one-time fund of 18 lakh rupees to state. To set up Gram Nyayalay, center allocates rupees 18 lakhs per Gram Nyayalay. This is a one-time amount. Then the states can continue to run the Gram Nyayalay. Okay. So this is the Gram Nyayalay basically purpose. Now provisions. So Gram Nyayalay, the idea is to establish such a structure at all the intermediate panchayat levels, or if possible for a group of Gram panchayats also, or for a group of Gram panchayats. That's there as well. Very important. Gram Nyayalaya provisions are not applicable to states like Arunachal, Nagaland, Sikkim, and Schedule 6 areas. Not applicable to Arunachal, Nagaland, Sikkim, Schedule 6 areas. So that's there. Now, every Gram Nyayalaya will have a judge called Nyayadhikari. He or she will be a person who is of the rank of judicial magistrate first class. So in our structure of lower judiciary, we had seen at the session side JM first class. So that person will be sent to become a Nyayadhikari, presiding officer of the Gram Nyayalaya. Then this Nyayadhikari will be appointed by the state government in consultation with the High Court. And as I said, they have the same salary and have the same power as a first class magistrate. So they are basically at the same rank. In fact, they are magistrates of first class only. Okay, that's there. Then, what are the provisions? Now, let me help you understand. Let us say in your particular village, there is some dispute you have with somebody. Let's say your neighbor's cows have destroyed your field, right? Have brazenly entered your field, destroyed your crops, or the local zamindar hired you for some work, did not pay you money, or paid you less money. So in such kind of cases, you can approach, you can complain to the Gram Nyayalaya. So how do you complain? So this case is there. You inform your you inform your Gram Panchayat. Gram Panchayat, on receiving all this information, say people like you have gone and complained, Gram Panchayat will inform the local district magistrate. The DM will then uh, get in touch with the local courts there, the district courts there, wherein this matter is raised in the high courts. High courts will ask district courts, what is the issue? District courts will say, sir, we have received so many complaints in that panchayat, in that block panchayat or mandal parishad. We should send some JM first class. So any JM first class will be sent. They can appoint a new person also. They can send an existing person also. Any judicial officer is sent. That's it. He sent. Now, before the officer or the Nyadhikari comes, a date is announced, and that particular date is stuck on the Gram Panchayat office Bhavan, where you can go and check the date. Okay, on 24th of April in this block Panchayat, Gram Nyayalaya will be set up. All those who are interested parties, please come. The Gram Nyayalaya will continue for 15 days or 2 months or 1 month, whatever, and you can come and get your cases disposed of. So that is the concept of mobile courts, where the Nyayadhikari or the JM first class will visit villages and conduct trials and proceedings. Okay. Now, this Gram Nyayalaya exercises both civil and criminal jurisdiction, meaning they can give you jail sentence also, they can give you monetary fines also. And ideally, the case has to be disposed of within 6 months. So, the cases need to be disposed of within 6 months. That's the time frame. So, you cannot cross 6 months time frame. Then, one more very important point here is that when it comes to Gram Nyayalaya, sometimes, when the Gram Nyadhikari sees so many cases are pending, 30, 40, 100 cases are there, all petty issues. Neighbor is throwing garbage in my house. Now, in such kind of cases, the Gram Nyadhikari can also talk to the district magistrate and ask him, these cases are very, very petty cases. Why don't you ask some local Gram Panchayat head, Sarpanch only, or some old people in the village to solve these cases? Right? Simple. You can simply create the situation where you talk to DM and say, sir, I have received all these list of cases. Most of them are very petty cases. Why don't you talk to the Gram Panchayat members and ask them to solve the cases? They can act as mediators, right? Conciliators and solve cases. So, in case of a possibility of reasonable settlement of disputes between parties, Gram Nyayalaya shall enable attempts to effect such settlements, for which it may appoint conciliators in consultation with the district magistrate. Conciliators can be some local NGO people, the pradhan of the village, right? Maybe some old people of the village who are respected seniors of the village, all these things. And Gram Nyayalaya does not follow any rule regulation. No Indian Evidence Act, no CRPC, no CPC, nothing. I mean, CRPC, CPC procedures not really are required. No Indian Evidence Act is followed. Nothing is followed. Only one principle, principle of natural justice. Three principles. Number one, no one shall be a judge in their own case. Number two, hear both the sides. Number three, give reasons for judgment. That's it. We saw the principles today only. So this is the very simple idea behind Gram Nyayalaya. Lastly, the punishment. So monetary fines cannot cross 20,000 rupees, and the Gram Nyayalaya can give jail sentence up to maximum 2 years. That's it. So they can give you both civil and criminal punishments. Now, it is not free to go and file a case in the Gram Nyayalaya. There is a court fees involved. What is the court fees? The court fees is rupees 100. And of course, Gram Nyayalaya punishments can be challenged. You can appeal, but only under certain condition. So what is the condition? Appeal can only take place when the fine is more than 1,000 rupees or you have a jail sentence. Only when fine is more than rupees 1,000. For 800 rupees fine, you cannot appeal anywhere. Sorry, you have to give the fine. So that's there. And what kind of laws are they dealing with? For example, Cattle Trespass Act is there of 1871, or you have the Payment of Wages Act 1936, or you have Minimum Wages Act is also there 1948. So if such kind of laws are broken by somebody, as I said, gave the example earlier, then you can approach the Gram Nyayalaya. And don't think that they are doing nothing. In fact, in the very limited number of courts that we have, 370 operational courts, the latest figures say that every month they receive roughly 16 to 17,000 cases. Like a few months back, the figure which was updated was 16,654 cases. And for criminal cases, they receive every month 1.6 to 1.7 lakh cases. Imagine if we did not have Gram Nyayalaya, all these cases would have gone to the local courts, only increasing the pendency. Okay, so that is with respect to the punishment, and that is all as far as Gram Nyayalayas are concerned. Now, solve this question before we move forward. A question coming in prelims 2016. Nitesh, Gram Nyayalaya cannot hear all kind of criminal cases. Of course, when the criminal case has a punishment of only 2 years or less, those cases only. So when the maximum punishment I can give is only 2 years, I cannot automatically hear certain cases. Let's say a let's say a murder case. Now, murder case has a punishment which can range from life to death sentence also. So there I can't hear such cases. So it is basically meant for smaller criminal cases because I cannot give a punishment of more than 2 years. Okay, 66% mark the correct answer. Let's see. As per the Act, Gram Nyayalayas can hear only civil cases and not criminal cases. This is wrong. These two are wrong. The Act allows local social activists as mediators or reconciliators. This is absolutely correct. B2 only. So that's it. Now, one other very important element of our discussion is this topic which has been in news for the past couple of years. All India Judicial Services. Firstly, I'll have to help you understand what do you mean by All India Judicial Services. What is meant by this AIJS? So, this AIJS, of course, is a part of added to Article 312 in 1976. What is this Article 312? Article 312 is where the Raj Sabha can authorize the parliament to create a new All India service, right? So here Raj Sabha has authorized the parliament to create a new All India service. That is an All India Judicial Service. So if the parliament wants, it can create a new All India Judicial Service. Now, firstly, please let me help you understand. Currently, this AIGS is only meant for lower judiciary. Okay, this is meant for subordinate courts. Please don't be confused that we will appoint High Court and Supreme Court judges. It is meant for district judges appointment. At what level, that we can decide later on, because there is no clarity on it, but district judges level. Okay. So currently we are appointing people at a district judges level by either promotion or through uh, their performance as a lawyer for 7 years. So currently the situation is that we have Article 233 to appoint the lower judiciary. So what is there currently? Currently the lower judiciary comes under state. So you have the provisions of Article 233 for the appointment. Now, why should we have all India judicial service? There are some advantages and recommendations have come. So I'll simply write in favor. Who all are in favor of this? So one thing is, of course, that law commissions, various law commission reports are there. Law commission reports of 1958, law commission report of 1978, law commission report of 1986. Various law commission reports are there. Supreme Court, there is a case in 1992. This case, I believe, was the All India Judges Association case, where Supreme Court said we should have an All India Judicial Service. In fact, even the Shetty Commission. So there was a commission called National Judicial Pay Commission, which was chaired by Justice Shetty, so-called Shetty Commission. Or let's write Justice Shetty. It had also given recommendation that we should have an AIGS. The central government, Government of India, Law Ministry, it is recently said in March 2020, December 2020, kept on saying that we should have AIGS. Then a few high courts like Tripura High Court or Sikkim High Court, not the important ones, smaller high courts. These people are in favor. So what is the scheme? The scheme is like, currently we have the state government appointments. So every state conducts exams for UPSC and IAS. Think of that. So every state has its own administrative examinations. Rajasthan has RAS, UP has UPPCS, right? Telangana PCS, Tamil Nadu PCS. It's there. Despite that, we also have UPSC, which conducts exams for senior level posts, IAS, IPS, and sent to states to work there. So let's say your state PCS hires policemen for DSP rank, but UPSC hires people for IPS rank. So rank is different. Similarly, the idea is state PCS will keep on hiring for lowest judicial posts. AIGS exam to be conducted by UPSC will hire people for district judges. That's the whole point. Examination to be conducted by UPSC. That is the current situation. So this AIGS is meant to be a group of service where the UPSC conducts the examinations, but for the district judges. Okay. Now, what is the advantage? Of course, the very first advantage is if you are hiring more people, then the big thing is that you will have vacancies being filled. Very important. So currently we have around 5,000 vacancies in the lower judiciary. It can be filled very quickly by UPSC. Vacancies can be filled. Secondly, pendency of cases can come down. It can reduce. And to give you a perspective, this national court management system has given an information or data that in the next 20 years we will have 15 crore cases being filed in the country. For that we need at least 75,000 judges. Yes, you heard me right. In the next 20 years we will need around 75,000 judges. We currently have 26,000 judges. We have to increase the number of judges slowly and steadily. It cannot happen overnight. It will compromise quality. We have to increase the number slowly. So that's there. Then it also has a very important element of fresh national talent, because we say no, UPSC conducts the examination. So the idea is that it will conduct examinations across the country. So the best possible talent can be procured. Just like UPSC conducts exams for IAS, IPS, you are the best national talent. And then they search people from amongst you and find out the right candidates. And of course, when you have better quality of talent, this concept of an all India merit system is there. Then it can also strengthen the judicial system. It can also address the issues of social inclusion, adequate representation to various communities, right? Because currently we have very low representation in judiciary from OBC, SC, ST communities. So that can also improve. So these are some advantages that may be seen if we have all India judicial service. Now, what is the problem? So, firstly, who is opposing it? Of course, the states, because now you are taking away the states' power. So, largely, most of the states are opposing it. So, who is against it? Most states, because they feel it is an interference on their part to appoint people, though they hardly have control over the lower judiciary, but still. Secondly, now in fact, some states like I believe Chhattisgarh, Bihar, and Odisha, they are okay, but they say only some seats should be there for AIJS, not all the seats. Like say 10%. Chhattisgarh government said 15% seats can be given to AIJS. Rest we'll appoint ourselves. Then most high courts, in fact, all the high courts except Tripura and Sikkim, every high court in the country says no, 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 no. Because if you start taking the appointment from there, currently who is appointing these judges? High courts have complete control. So they don't want their power to be taken away. So most high courts, in fact, all major high courts, Andhra Pradesh High Court, Bombay High Court, Delhi High Court, Gujarat High Court, Karnataka High Court, Punjab and Haryana High Court, Calcutta High Court, Jharkhand High Court, every high court that you can think of has opposed this provision. Anyway, now what is the concern? As I said, one concern is very simple. It compromises federalism. Why should center or any central agency appoint judges at the state level? So states are saying you are snatching away our power, a constitutional power. So it seems like violates Article 233. This is the allegation. Number two, now come two very important issues. Please understand. When it comes to an IAS or an IPS officer, when you get posted, let's say you are from Tamil Nadu, you don't know Hindi, you don't know Bengali, you go to West Bengal and you are an IPS there. You can still manage because there are various posts where you don't have to interact much with public. Secondly, as a higher level official, you hardly interact with public. Plus, you can have translators as an IAS officer also. Somebody from Haryana goes to Kerala, he can work perfectly because exactness of translation is not a problem. But when you are a judge, imagine you are somebody from Odisha and you are now posted in Nagaland, or somebody from Assam posted in Maharashtra or posted in Andhra Pradesh. Therein comes a problem. Therein comes a problem because here you cannot rely on translations. You have to have your own understanding of the local dialect, local terms, etc., because you will be hearing witnesses day in, day out. What is a lower court's task? It's a trial court. Every witness, every evidence is presented in the lower court only. That's your task on a daily basis. You can't rely on some kind of translation. Language is the biggest barrier. That is why we say in the IS IPS, language proficiency is desirable, not a precondition. It's not mandatory. But here, linguistic proficiency is mandatory. You have to know the legal local jargons. You cannot simply rely on translations. Translations will be unreliable. That's a big problem. So, language barrier, number one. Number two is the social and cultural barrier. So people maybe from say Karnataka may not appreciate of a custom which is there in Tripura, or somebody from Haryana or Punjab may not appreciate a custom in Tamil Nadu. That's very logical. So outsiders may not appreciate the context of a custom, right? And because you are providing justice, it's not some order which can be challenged. It's a delivery of justice which has a sense of finality, right? Because when you challenge a judgment in a high court, it takes time. The average pendency in our country is 15 years. So when you give a judgment, a verdict, there's a sense of finality attached to it. It takes its own sweet time. So you are pronouncing verdicts. So you have to be very thorough and aware of all the social customs, ritual practices, and also be appreciative of it. Understand the context, which may be missing. Challenge. That is why we say that outsiders, huge problem in understanding the local customs. And then, of course, one more thing is there. You know, age is also a barrier, because 21, 23, 25, you're too young to be a district judge. See, judgments come through maturity, because the more mature you are, the more empathy you develop, right? You develop a sense of understanding that yes, there are challenges. People do face challenges. You tend to understand the other person's point of view more. I won't say moral values come down, but you understand that human emotions work in the gray areas. It's not black and white every time. So those things will take time, and you will have a sense of maturity, right? So that's it. And lastly, when you are hiring judges like this, what will happen to the promotional venues of lower judiciary? How will they get promoted? Any which way, as of now, it is almost impossible for a lower level judge to become high court judge. Forget Supreme Court. Forget Supreme Court. Somebody who enters after clearing the after clearing the SPSC examination as a lower court judge, it is very difficult for him to go to high court also as a judge. Promotions are so slow, and most of these jobs in high courts as judges are hijacked by these lawyers, advocates coming from hotshot families, full of knowledge, and also a lot of awareness, a lot of links, associations, worked in that under that judge, worked in this court. So they get promoted very easily. They're always in the limelight because most cases are taken up by them only, right? There are families of generations of lawyers, seventh generation lawyer, eighth generation lawyer. They are more popular. They easily hog the limelight. Coming to limelight, get appointed. A lower judicial officer keeps on struggling with the poor infrastructure. And then you are sending more officers. How will they get ever promoted? That's a big problem. So these are some concerns pertaining to AIJs as of now. So if the question is asked on what is your response, we can simply say discussions, because we know very well what is the reality right now. There's a lot of conflict on this. So discussions, discussion with stakeholders, discuss lawyers, discuss with the judiciary, discuss with the bar council, also discuss with law colleges, as many stakeholders as possible, right? So associations, all these people, keep on discussing. Once we find out what is the best ground, then we can implement it. In the meantime, why don't we focus on the current issues at hand. In the meantime, improve infrastructure, right? Improve the rationalize the wages, meaning what? Increase the salaries, and also ensure regular avenues for promotion. I tell you something, people say no, the best national talent will come. Not really. See, as a graduate, what is your best alternative for a job? UPSC. There is no match only for UPSC for a graduate. There's no alternative. See, if you're a technical graduate, then you may have a lot of good engineering jobs, etc., or maybe other professional jobs. But for a nominal graduate, this is the best job you can get with that degree of a graduate. But for a law college pass out, your career starts with getting a package of 10-15 lakhs a month if you get hired in the right kind of firm. That's a salary a lawyer is earning if you pass from national law school, etc. Start your own practice. If you have a, or if you're a part of family of lawyers, then there's no limit only. So for top quality lawyers or law students, you have plenty of alternative high paying opportunities. Why would they leave? And then all these lawyers can practice for 10 years and can directly go to high courts. Why will I start from scratch? If I know very well that I can directly go to high court, why the hell will I start from scratch? So this concept and idea of the best talent may not work here, because you can simply directly jump to high court by working for 10 years as a lawyer, which may be difficult via way of promotions from the district judiciary. So these are some concerns with respect to which we, as of now, have shelved the idea, and even the central government says that as of now we may have taken this on the back burner. We will not discuss this. Let's see in future if there is some kind of unanimous decision on this. Then we can think along the lines of having the AIGS. But as of now, this plan has been shelved by the central government also, and this can be your way forward as well. So that is all as far as All India Judicial Services as an alternative to reducing pendency is concerned. With this, we also come to an end of our discussion today. We'll continue our discussion on the same point tomorrow by starting with the very interesting topic of judicial activism. Very important, very interesting. We'll discuss the pros, cons, etc. And then we'll discuss tribunals. We'll start a discussion on election commission, and we'll continue further. That's all for me, guys. Jai Hind. I'll take your questions if you have any now. Nitin, allow practice after retirement. No, that may impact the impartiality of a judge. If you allow practice post retirement, the judges may not be very partial towards the end of their legal career. Uh, Rani sir, what can be the, oh, great Mandeep, amazing. So what can be the solution for a language barrier? Not really. There is no solution as such. See, India is a very diverse country. So I don't want any Bengali to be forced into learning Tamil, or some Kannadiga to be forced into learning Hindi. That's not correct. Language is very important. The local culture is very important. If we cannot respect our local culture only, how the hell will we respect our country? So that respect has to be there. So because of extreme diversity, the beauty is there. So come the challenges. So language barrier will be a very genuine concern. It will always be there. Yes, Shiva, that can be there. Larger budget allocation. Of course, Mandeep, of course. Home posting. Nitin, is there a guarantee that we'll have people from equally all the states across the country? That's not possible. Right? Uh, what else? Yes, Cherub, that's there. They're like lateral entry only, but then the quality of lawyers is definitely slightly better when we directly send them to high courts. That's also visibly there. Ranjan, compromising federalism. Compromises means it violates the spirit of federalism. That's called compromising with the federal structure, violating the spirit of federalism. Meaning you are taking away the state's power to appoint people. Yaram Seti, it may be a good thing, but not right now. There are plenty of ways in which you can improve upon the judicial structure. Plenty of ways. So this is something that may be done in the future, right? So this is too much of a big ticket reform. Sometimes slow incremental changes, will give you long lasting results. Abhinav, revision. Revision is the only trick. And as I said, please practice as many questions as possible. There are plenty of websites available online. You can get a lot of mock tests of various coaching organizations. Please download, practice, solve more questions, and revise. Okay, what doubts do we have? No, no, Ashutosh, we don't have to memorize all the articles firstly. I'll tell you again after judiciary which articles are important. And again, when I say articles are important, I mean to say the content has to be associated with that number. So it all boils down to revision. See, to tell you frankly, you must have seen not just me, lot of faculty quoting lot of numbers, knowing a lot of things in their subject. Frankly, we have been teaching the same thing again and again. It's just revision and an interest in the subject. The task for me is very easy. I have to go back home and read only polity. Today, tomorrow, 10 days later, 10 years later. You have to study hundreds of topics. So please, that's a reality. So please understand the limitation that you have. And that is why limit yourself to mugging up those facts which are ultimately very, very important. So don't go overboard with that because you have your own limitations of human mind as well. That is within that limitation, reasonable effort should be put in to mug up facts. Shiva, that is the whole point. We can increase number of seats every time, right? Say 100, 200, 100, 200, that can be done. So the posts are very less. We can increase number of judges slowly and steadily because we can't increase them overnight. So that's definitely a very good situation. Uh, Kamapati, not really. Article 142 is basically there to ensure complete justice. Curative petition or any such innovation is a part of judicial innovations, which the courts are allowed to do. Now, there can be a link. You may say, sir, complete justice. So that's uh, Article 142 largely relates to Supreme Court trying to give orders for different aspects to different organs. But curative petition was an opportunity wherein the court said that if we have also committed a wrong, we'll rectify it, giving you one more chance. So think of curative petition as judiciary trying to correct wrongs done by judiciary itself. Ravi, there's no criteria. Clear the bar council examination for High Court, Supreme Court, become a lawyer there, advocate there. Cherub, point noted. We'll discuss tomorrow. Appropriate point. Courts interfere everywhere and don't want anyone to interfere. Appropriate. We'll discuss that tomorrow. Judicial activism, when it crosses the boundary, becomes overreach. Rightfully pointed out. Rani, fast track court is just like any other court. It's like a local court. It is just that that court has been dealing with specific issues only. That's it. So a CBI court. It's not that CBI set up a court. CBI court means in that court only CBI related cases will be filed. That's it. Other cases will not be filed. So it's a regular court where same appeal lies, everything is same. Mandeep, yes, I think that's true for every subject, you know. And see, in the weekend, I believe, see, what's good in the weekend is you get to study a lot on one day and you have the full week to revise, subject to the point that you're not a working professional. But what's challenging in the weekend is that at one go itself, you are bombarded with various information. So that can be too overwhelming at times. So it's okay. Once you start reading again through the entire week, you can break it down to small parts and revise carefully. So because the weekend batches are such that you bombard people with information. And here, see, it's an online mechanism. So of course, I don't really know. Somebody is watching IPL also, studying also. That could be there. So focus also lacks when you are sitting in the comforts of your house rather than sitting in the class where you always have to be very attentive. And then in the class, we have a sense of a competitive environment, which I try to create through these questions. Here are mobile codes. Yes, we have mobile codes, right? Gram Nales. I mean, what do you want? That the code should be at the Gram Panchayat level would be too much. So we already have that at the block level. So it's sufficiently there. Sushri, sir, if judgment by High Court judge is reserved, then up to what extent is reserved? Is there any no time limit? That's the beauty. Supreme Court and High Courts, there is no time limit to which you can reserve the judgment. Priyanka, just the word habeas is there. Aishwarya, sir, how social custom culture argument is a challenge? See, Aishwarya, as I said, outsiders may not understand the local customs and traditions and may be more likely to give a judgment against some local custom which they may feel to be very peculiar, right? So, lot of tribal customs, say you're a non-tribal, say from Delhi, and you go to Nagaland. By the way, people of northeastern states are highly educated and all, but they still follow their customs. So let's say you go to some place there. They have this concept of appointings of headmen of a tribe, right? And there you feel, what, this is nonsense. Petition dismissed. You have blatantly disrespected the entire custom without unknowingly only because you don't really understand. You have not seen that happening. So that empathy development takes time. That is a socio-cultural argument there. Uh, Border courts. Yes, Yaram Shetty, it is appropriate, but then again, what levels? I think rather than creating more levels, we should allocate this very task to some authority. Trust me on this. You will find, you'll be surprised that how underworked a lot of staff in the government jobs are. Yes, there are a lot of fields where staff are completely overburdened with work also. That's also there. Avani, bails are not given. See, Avani, I don't know why bails are being denied. But why are bails denied? I'll give you a generic response, which is if the accused may show aggressive behavior, meaning if the accused is let off on bail, he may go out and may attack the witnesses or tries to tamper with the evidence, or if the accused on bail can abscond, right? Or the crime is very cruel, heinous crime. So to send a message also, in these cases, bail is denied. Normally, the lower courts deny bail because they are very sensitive to the very typical local issues and all. So they deny bail. Nobody wants to know, take this risk that accused has absconded because I denied bail. That's there. Okay, so I believe I've tried to address all your concerns. In case any concern is left, Priyanka, PIL tomorrow. We'll discuss PIL tomorrow. Shiva, of course, no, it is not unfair. A lot of people become IAS officers. Do all of them become chief secretaries, cabinet secretaries? We have only one post. How can everybody become a cabinet secretary? Same thing. Okay, so let's meet tomorrow once again to discuss further on this judicial activism, and then we'll also discuss the elections. Okay. So again, the same idea. Please try to revise at least once tomorrow morning, though it's too much of expectation. But again, so that's all for me, guys. Let's meet tomorrow. Till then, Jai Hind.